Welcome back, survival horror enthusiasts. So I have this crazy theory. Well, it may be more of a fantasy than a theory, but I thought it was worth discussing. What if Resident Evil Outbreak is actually Resident Evil Requiem's online mode? Think about it. In recent years, Capcom has brought us multiplayer Resident Evil games to accompany the release of some of its major games. The most recent of these being the very bad RE9’s, which once again tried to force PvP down players' throats. Of course, as with Umbrella Corps, hardly anyone was interested. On the other hand, we also had Resident Evil Resistance to accompany the release of Resident Evil 3 Remake. Although it had potential, it too failed to convince the majority of gamers. Year after year, Capcom has got it wrong with Resident Evil Online. This was the subject of one of my videos, which I recommend you watch after this one. Even today, Resident Evil Outbreak remains the ultimate Resident Evil multiplayer experience. Here are 5 reasons why I imagine Outbreak could make a comeback with Resident Evil Requiem. Number 1. Capcom's multiplayer ambitions and missteps. As we mentioned earlier, Capcom has repeatedly tried to crack the multiplayer market using the Resident Evil IP with mixed results. Umbrella Corps, Resident Evil Resistance, RE9’s, all launched with fanfare but died quickly. However, there were a few successes. The Mercenaries and Raid mode were and are still popular among the fans, but more arcadey and lacked long-term multiplayer support. Plus, if Capcom really wanted to bring the Mercenaries back to the spotlight, I imagine they would have seized the opportunity presented by the Resident Evil 4 remake, and sadly, it never happened. Resident Evil Outbreak, on the other hand, stands apart. It was ahead of its time, a grounded survival horror multiplayer game that fans still praise. Why? Because it is the perfect classic online Resident Evil experience. We're talking about a 22-year-old game so popular today that fans have revived servers to make it playable online on PC. In fact, the servers saw a spike in activity following the announcement of Resident Evil Requiem. What a boost. I know many of you didn't know Outbreak. That's why I suggest you watch my video, A Love Letter to Resident Evil Outbreak, to learn more about the game. Many of you have also expressed your desire to see a remake of this game on numerous occasions in the comments to my videos. If Capcom has paid attention to this popularity, it could well become a reality one day. With today's tech, Capcom could revive Outbreak with both remade scenarios and new ones, including cut content like the motel. This model is perfect for live service support. Number 2. Alyssa Ashcroft and Raccoon City in Requiem. Some fans have noticed that Alyssa seems to appear younger in certain shots, perhaps flashbacks, or retellings of events from the Outbreak timeline. If true, this opens the door to possible appearances by other characters who survived RC, and if Capcom has brought in models, actors, and created new resources for Outbreak-era characters, why stop at cameos? That could be a smart reuse of assets from all the previous games and remakes for a full multiplayer mode, Outbreak mode, accessible directly with Requiem. What's more, many parts of Raccoon City have already been created for previous remakes, and even for Resistance. Wouldn't it be a shame not to take advantage of all this and explore other areas? Number 3. Resident Evil 9’s long development makes room for multiplayer. Resident Evil 9, aka Requiem, has reportedly been in development for over 9 years, with Capcom's biggest RE budget to date, if well-known leaker Dusk Golem is to be believed. That time and money could easily include a parallel team developing a robust multiplayer mode, synergy between modes, for example, Requiem's campaign unlocks cosmetics or characters in Outbreak mode. And after the lukewarm reception of RE's latest multiplayer experiences, Capcom probably gets it. Fans don't want imitations, they want the real Outbreak. Number 4. The Capcom leak mentioned Outbreak as a project. In the 2020 Capcom ransomware leak, several unannounced projects were exposed, and one of them was listed under the codename Outbreak. That project has never officially surfaced. However, we have another clue that something is afoot with Resident Evil Outbreak. Its official webpage still displays the status OK. So that means several things. Firstly, it indicates a renewal of site rights for Capcom. Secondly, it's interesting to note that shortly before the announcement of the Resident Evil 2 remake, its page also displayed this OK status. Unfortunately, this isn't enough to certify that an Outbreak return is on the cards, but added to the leaks, it does make us wonder. Is Outbreak quietly being bundled within Requiem to avoid launching it as a risky standalone title? This could be a good strategy, given that Outbreak was not a commercial success in its day, too advanced for its time. This theory is gaining traction as Requiem leaks and trailers show stronger ties to the Outbreak timeline. Number 5. The timing is perfect for a fan-driven revival. Let's be real, Outbreak has only grown in popularity in the past 20 years. Massive online communities still play it using emulators and fan servers. Modders have restored cut content and even translated menus. Content creators and fans have been begging Capcom for a revival, and they know it. Capcom has leaned heavily into fan service in recent years. RE2/RE4 remakes, classic costumes, lore drops, and cut content restoration. So this is the perfect time to cash in on the Outbreak nostalgia and give multiplayer RE the structure it's been missing. When you take a step back and look at the full picture, the theory that Resident Evil Outbreak could return as Requiem's online mode is appealing. It's grounded in logic, history, and Capcom's own patterns. We've seen Capcom push hard, very hard, to make multiplayer Resident Evil a reality. But the truth is, they've missed the mark again and again with games that either didn't feel like Resident Evil or didn't have the depth to last. Yet Outbreak, despite being nearly 2 decades old, continues to have a loyal fan base and a working fan-made infrastructure. That's rare, and it's telling. Now, for the first time in years, we have the perfect storm. A big-budget title that's been in development for nearly a decade. A mysterious trailer featuring a known Outbreak protagonist. A return to Raccoon City, where it all began. A leaked project named Outbreak that still hasn't surfaced. And a Capcom that's more aware than ever of what fans want. It makes strategic, creative, and even financial sense for Capcom to revive Outbreak, not as a separate, risky standalone title, but as a fully integrated multiplayer mode within Resident Evil Requiem. They already have the engine, the assets, and most importantly, the fan demand. If you've paid actors, modeled faces, and gone through the trouble of making flashbacks or full character returns, why stop at a cameo? Why not give them a purpose, and give players a reason to stick around long after the credits roll? The return of Outbreak wouldn't just be fan service, it would be redemption. A second chance at the multiplayer survival horror game that was 20 years ahead of its time. So no, this isn't just a fan theory, it's a warning. If Capcom isn't planning to bring Outbreak back, they're missing one hell of an opportunity. Alright, that's all I've got for today. What do you think? Do you believe Outbreak could really return as the online mode for Requiem? Or am I just getting too hyped up about the possibilities? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this talk and want more Resident Evil news, theories, and even want to listen to a cool audiobook, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. And if you liked this one, give it a thumbs up to show your support. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay safe, stay smart, and most importantly, keep your gun loaded because you never know what might be lurking right around the corner.